From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To present this as proper difficult to lead of this minister and the development of this country.
Give us access to our money.
Good morning and welcome to Open Conversation on Atlantic Television Network. Open Conversation is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impacts to the society. Today on Open Conversation, we'll look at first, National Assembly. Senate denies fixing own salaries. And then on to local government autonomy. Apex Court oppose local government tenure elongation. Still on local government autonomy, federal government trying to create another bureaucracy, PDP alleges. And then on to end bad governance in Nigeria, invasion of Nigerian Labour Congress, intimidation by federal government, Ajero, the Labour boss says. And then still on the protest, federal government mishandling protest could lead to another one, Lukman says. And on politics, Obi, too nice for Nigeria, Adeyanju says. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Do not go away.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To present this as proper difficult to lead of this minister and the development of this country.
Give us access to our money in return.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how hard the obstacles, we always win.
What Nigeria needs now is not about the dumb thing. You can come and salvage us from where we are.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
people. Mr. President, my people are on the siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and stop the privilege to lead of this minister and the deputy of justice.
Give us access to our money we pay in charge.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how hard the obstacles, we always win.
Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
And thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Conversation this morning is Jackson Lekon Ojo. Jackson Lekon Ojo is a regular and a political analyst. Good morning, Jackson, and welcome to Open Conversation.
It's my pleasure of being with you again this morning.
And I also have with me Nze Nze. He prefers to be known as the People's Advocate. Nze is also a political analyst. Good morning, Nze, and welcome to Open Conversation.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
All right, and on to the story. Nigerian Senate has strongly denied allegations suggesting it is involved in determining its salary or receiving special fiscal packages from the presidency. This claim, which reportedly emerged during a visit by members of the House of Representatives to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, has sparked widespread public debates. In a statement, spokesman Yemi Adaramodu, APC Ekiti South, on Sunday, the Senate described the allegations as an attempt to crucify the legislature by the centurions of political hypocrisy. Adaramodu stressed that no senator has received any financial package, patronage, from the presidency. He clarified that the constituency projects often linked to the legislature are merely suggested and nominated by senators, following practices common in other democracies worldwide. To set the record straight, Adaramodu stressed the Senate only receives the salary allocated to it by the Revenue Mobilization Fiscal Allocation Commission in strict accordance with constitutional provisions. He added that the Senate challenges anyone with credible evidence to present contrary facts, describing any suggestion that the National Assembly fixes its salaries as uncharitable and satanic. Adaramodu further explained that the executive arm of government, through its various ministries and agencies, is responsible for awarding contracts for constituency projects. The funds allocated for these projects vary depending on the number of constituencies in each state, and the intention is to ensure that every region of Nigeria benefits from federal resources. As the country enters what some describe as a season of political pontificating, Adaramodu assured the public that the 10th Assembly remains a responsible and responsive chamber. He reaffirmed the Senate's commitment to upholding the economy and growth of Nigeria, insisting that it only receives what it constitutionally allocated to it and would never seek additional perks from other branches of government. Let me hear from you, Jackson. What do you think about this story, the reaction of the Senate with regards to fixing its own salaries?
The guy has spoken well, very eloquently. You are not expecting to say anything otherwise.
Okay.
You understand? Because they are always living in denial. You understand? Even when you see them doing it physically, even when you see them talking on people, seeing it globally in video, they will still deny it. So what do you expect? It is not just 10th Senate or 10th National Assembly, 10th National Assembly alone. Right from the beginning, these people have not been able to disclose what they are earning. There was a former speaker that said he earned about 25 million naira in a month. You understand? Yes. That maybe when he was doing that one, maybe he was in the dream. That's what these people will refer to. So we are not the legislative arm we have in this country today, with due respect, you can't hear anything near to the truth from them. These are pathological liars. So what do you expect? What do you expect him to say? You interview them, you challenge them, every one of them. But luckily enough, about a month ago, one former speaker said as a speaker it was only 25 million naira in a month. And that is
a former senator,
a former
House of Rep member,
a former speaker of the House of Reps.
Okay.
You understand? So both reps and House of the Senate, both of them are twins of the same parents. So we won't hear truth from them. We just continue to manage them, but they are not managing us well. So, and they deny that they are not getting anything from the presidency. When will they come and tell us that they are getting something from the presidency? Even when everybody knows. Sometimes ago, somebody said before they even pass budget, there's a certain promises given to them. That is another one. He is saying the constituency project, that they don't know anything about it. They know, they are the one that will appoint the contractor, recommend the contractor to the ministry that will award the job. So from there they know. After all, they are the one that will screen the budget. So they know what they are doing. So that is it. But what I think we should do, possibly in the future, is to make this thing not, our legislative not too attractive again. Let them be like a part-time worker. That is it.
All right.
But if they still continue with what they are doing, you can't achieve anything from the Senate, particularly under Pabio.
All right. Nze, what is your take on this story?
I think, just as my colleagues have said earlier, the man speaking spoke eloquently. We're used to that. We hear them always, but we hear them in their falsehood. But the question is this: is their salary any problem to Nigerians? If the salary of the legislators is a problem to Nigeria, then we'll look at that. But the problem is the corruption that goes on in both Senate and the Federal House of Assembly. In fact, in all the arms of government. I have said it over and over that the problem we have is corruption in leadership. Now, he is coming to tell us that they don't fix their salaries. Yes. What if we should believe them? What good will it do to Nigerians? Will it put food on the table of the masses? That market woman frying akra by the wayside, is the salary of the senator representing her in the National Assembly affecting her in any way? So why should we spend our time discussing these frivolous matters? Because to me, he has just given us what he felt he needed to give us. But one thing they did not know is that the word of every leader revolves around the intelligence. Despite how they believe that Nigerians have become moron, we still have people who have intelligence.
Yes.
And when you speak, just know that these people are listening to you. And when they listen to you, they will analyze your words. Now, he said that it is the executive that fixes their salary. Yes. Let them receive their salaries. But let it be that the salaries they receive will trickle down to the grassroots who spend their time under sun and rain to vote them to power. They said they do not influence, they do not give contract for constitution, what do they call it?
Constituency.
Constituency project. But the question I want to ask him and them, because he is speaking for others. So whatever we say to him, we are saying to all the legislators. Now, the question is, why is it that some of the constituent projects that are being awarded are not executed? And when you call them up for town hall meeting, they don't show up. When you call them up for constituency meeting, they don't show up. If at all they come, they tell lies. Who eats the money? So why will you come here to lie? If you don't know what to say, for God's sake, please keep mute. It will be better. If you don't know what to say, keep mute. Because each time you come to speak, you are aggravating the pains of the people.
Yes.
You are making us feel stupid. Some of us are thinking, why did God so much hate us to bring us to this nation? But I don't believe that God hates us. It's just that the devil has projected evil men to be there at the helm of affairs and controlling things to the interest of their cronies, themselves, their families, and their cronies, and to the suffering of the general masses. So I begin to wonder, if he says that they don't issue constituency project contracts, the question is, who influences it? If you can influence who gets the job, you can as well influence what gets into what is being put into the job.
Yes.
So in one way or the other, passively or actively, you are responsible for it. And remember, it is you who will come to the executive or the legislature and say that this is the project my people want. The question is, the constituency projects you people are bringing, did you interface with the masses, with the people that elected you, to ask them, what do you need here?
Who received funds for the constituency projects?
Well, he said they are not the ones receiving, so I don't know.
It's the, Senator Ned Nwoko, during the drama that played out in the National Assembly with regards to budget padding,
okay,
you know, by Senator Ningi, who came up to make some revelations about budget padding. And then that particular incident opened up a can of worms. Now, Senator Ned Nwoko, while he was talking about that in an interview, he made some statements. And one of the things he said, because Senator Ningi also talked about receiving monies with respect to constituency projects. And he said he's a ranking senator and he receives less than 500 million, or I think around 500 million naira. Senator Ned Nwoko, in another interview, said he receives 1 billion.
Okay.
He received 1 billion because, and he was asked why. He said up to, sorry, let me quote him. He said up to 1 billion. He said why. He was asked why, and he responded, because he's a ranking senator, that monies are shared for constituency projects according to your rank
in the Senate.
The Senate. So now, this revelation by Senator Ningi and Senator Ned Nwoko is at variance with what Adaramodu is saying. Now, if that's why I asked, who receives the funds for constituency projects?
Look at it. Do you know one thing I like about falsehood? There is one special thing I like about lies, and that thing is its inconsistency. Yes. Lie can never be straight. Now, Adaramodu has come to tell us, and he expects most Nigerians who don't keep memory, who are not abreast with the events of the past. They will say, we pity them, they don't know, it's the executive and all that and all that. But you see how the truth from both Aduningi, whom when they wanted to nail him, I said they should leave this man. There is something he stopped pointing at. But in their power, they nailed him. But look at the response of Ned Nwoko. Now, from what Ned says and what Adaramodu is saying, you see the inconsistency in it. They don't try. They are invariants. Now, this one says we receive constituency project fund. And this one says we don't have anything to do with it. So who do we now believe?
What Adaramodu said, he said that constituency projects often linked to legislature are merely suggested and nominated by senators.
But Ned Nwoko said they receive.
All right.
And in fact, he said he received up to 1 billion.
1 billion.
But look at the question. If we should now consider, because Ned Nwoko is a ranking senator, and my own senator is not a ranking senator, even when I know that the senator representing my constituency has been the, what do they call, is it, that is deputy DSP.
All right.
Yes, the former senator that just left before this current one was the DSP under the Ninth Assembly. And look at it. In my own constituency, you scarcely see road. You scarcely see borehole.
But he was a ranking senator, wasn't he?
Eh?
He was a ranking senator.
He was a high. In fact, he was number 2 now.
Yes.
All right.
But the money, if Ned could receive up to 1 billion, how much then goes to him? Good. Now, where is those things? Where can we find around our place? Yes, there were some few roads he did. I commend him for that. At least the road leading to his place.
Is it still solid?
For now, yes.
Right.
I think I say I commend him for that.
Right.
But the road passed across his own constituency, I mean his own local government, down to another local government, down to my own local government. From Aniri to Ogu to Ojiriba. I'm from Ojiriba, in Enugu State. From Aniri, he came to Ogu. Getting to Ogu, there was a place we have landslide because our place is mountainous. Now, he stopped that project there. That crossing that place is a life-threatening. It's life-threatening. And come to the place, you see primary schools, like in my place. Thank God for the latest member representing my people in the State House of Assembly, in the person of Honorable Siteze. That the primary school I schooled, that was built 1919 by our colonial masters, he had come to change it with smart school. I commend him for that, honestly. But these senators, this House of Assembly reps members have been there, and that school was dilapidated. That we were contributing money. Those of us from abroad, we were contributing money to change roof. We contribute to buy desk. We contribute to change windows and all that. And constituency project. Now the model has come to say, they simply suggest. Now you that is suggesting, did you walk around the vicinity? Did you walk around the area to know what is wrong and what is good? See the places that erosion is disturbing. See the places that roads are damaged. See the schools and the public buildings that are getting dilapidated. And now come to suggest to those as he claimed. Because he believes that once he say it like this, everybody will take it on like that and swallow it with hook, line, and sinker. But the truth remains that lie is inconsistent. And they are playing with it. And remember, there is an adage that says that when the wind blows, the false annals will be revealed. So they are revealing themselves. We are seeing it. And they are justifying my claim last year that the 10th Assembly will never succeed.
All right. What is you wanted to say something, Jackson?
Yes, you have spoken well. That's my colleague there. But one thing I want to say is this. There is this principle of equality before the law. And there is no constituency or central district that is bigger than the other. Superior to the other. But this is a system, according to their claim, now this is a system whereby if my own senator is a ranking senator, and your own senator is not a ranking senator, that is to say my own constituency is superior to your own constituency. Good.
By the reason of the rank.
By the reason of the rank.
Of individuals.
Of the individual. Exactly. So that is it. So if your constituency should benefit 20, my own constituency will benefit 50. So you are now, your constituency is inferior just because you don't have a ranking member of the Senate or House of Reps. This is criminally. This is condemnable. It is not acceptable. And just like it has said, you suggested to the people that we award the contract. What are you supposed to be doing? The principle of check and balances that give you oversight function over everything in the country. Now you suggested that somebody your constituency should be given a project, and you could not go back to that constituency to go and oversight the project. You understand? That is like a dassica attitude, dereliction of duty and others. Unclear attitude of our legislators, particularly this 10th Assembly. I knew, just like I said, during the emergence of the leadership of the 10th Assembly, I knew that 10th Assembly was going to fail. And woefully, up to this moment, they have failed.
All right. Strong words there. Supreme Court's July 11, 2024 judgment includes far-reaching decisions that will significantly alter local government administration in the country. The Supreme Court has affirmed the financial autonomy of Nigeria's 774 local governments. In a unanimous judgment of its 7-member panel on July 11, the Supreme Court unanimously upheld the suit brought by the federal government to strengthen the independence of local governments in the country. A member of the panel, Justice Emmanuel Agim, who delivered the court's lead judgment, held that the local governments across the country should from July 11 receive their allocations directly from the Accountant General of the Federation. He ruled that it is illegal and unconstitutional for governors to receive and withhold funds allocated to local government areas in their states. He ordered immediate enforcement and compliance with the orders of the court by state governments and successive governments henceforth. Today we will be discussing an important part of this judgment, and that is the local government tenure elongation by the Supreme Court. The judgment partly reads, under Section 135, subsection 3 of the Constitution, the tenure of 4 years for the President provided for by Section 135, subsection 2 thereof shall be extended for periods not exceeding a period of 6 months at any time. By a resolution of the National Assembly, if it is not practicable to hold elections. By the same token, by a law of a State House of Assembly, the tenure of local government councils can be legally extended for any reason such as insecurity or war if it becomes impracticable or impossible for elections into the local government councils to be conducted. The mandate given to an elected local government council is the mandate of the electorate of that local government area. And if the tenure is extended, it is the people's mandate that is extended. If the tenure of a local government council is truncated, as it is the norm now, it is an illegal termination of the electorate's mandate, and it is not to be encouraged but roundly condemned. Nze, what do you think of this tenure elongation judgment by Supreme Court?
You know that when Martin Samuel they embattled the former Speaker of River State House of Assembly and his cohorts elongated the tenure of the local government in River State, there was this public outcry that they were doing illegal thing. Now, a time came that while they were trying to interpret this same law you just read now and trying to give it a backing, the tenure of the then local government chairman expired and the governor appointed caretaker committee. You read previously that where it is impracticable to conduct election, the tenure of the existing local government chairman could be extended for 6 months. But in this case, this other group, the Fubara governor, Fubara's group, says no. It is not known by law. Now, he appointed caretaker committee because power does not exist in a vacuum. Now, and that caretaker committee is running. Now, look at by this, you just expose the eyes of the common man to the fact that what Amwehule and his people did was legal. But why is it that the people who know the law, who claim to know the law, could not bring up this matter? You see that we Nigerians, the masses, were in trouble in this country because there was this thing they used to do when we were small, that they will cover your eye and they will hide something and ask you to find it and you are busy. That is what is happening to Nigerians, to the people I represent, because I believe that as a priest, I represent the masses before God and represent God before the masses. Now look at the problem there. We don't know this law. We don't even read the Constitution of Nigeria. I mean, page to page, to know the contents therein. And these people, when they want to act in one way or the other, they go search it out in the Constitution and act. Why the masses or the people are struggling with issue of they are defending, the other group will go search out something else and apply, creating confusion and chaos. In as much as I do not believe in the trouble Honorable Martin Samuel and his courts are giving to River State government, but I know that both the judgment, the law we read now in section 135, subsection 3 or 2, the law we read now, and the judgment the Supreme Court gave about local government autonomy. I see all those things as a battle of the titans. Because majority of the people around this part of the world believed that this local government autonomy were prepared or was prepared to hit the present governor of River State.
Prepared by the Attorney General of the Federation?
No. Remember, Attorney General of the Federation.
Within River State House of Assembly?
No, Rivers political strongman. Rivers political strongman that is now in the federal. That is influencing most of the things that is happening now, which we know. It is true that sometimes some media houses and all that try to avoid that area because they say they cannot substantiate it. We don't say what we can substantiate. We say what we know and what we feel.
But you have to substantiate it.
Yes, that is when if you manage to take me to court, then I will seek for the help of the legal luminaries to help me and defend that. But the truth is that we believe that the Minister of FCT is influencing most of these things, and they thought that they would have succeeded in the tenure elongation now. And by the time the local government autonomy comes, you now see that the governor is completely handicapped. So he will
how is the governor?
He will be handicapped because he can't even talk to the local government chairman, because we saw it here in this state. At a point where a local government chairman will look at the governor and say, I dare you, if they burn you well. It means there is something giving that person the tone that he's dancing right there in the bush. And if that issue had succeeded with the local government autonomy and the elongation of local government tenure, you now see that these superheroes, political superheroes in error, as I will always address them, political superheroes in error, you see that they would have launched a heavy fight against the governor and stifle him and throw him by the wayside. So now I come to say the truth. Since we have seen in the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended 1999 that it is in the law, it means Amwele should not be crucified, because to me, I don't hate any of them, I only hate their actions. And where your actions lies with the need of the masses, I applaud you. And where your action lies in evidence with the need of the masses, I will condemn, I will shout, I will talk. So for that to local government elongation, I applaud the erstwhile Speaker of the River State House.
Why do you call him erstwhile Speaker?
He's no longer there now.
By whose judgment?
It is true that judiciary, as I said, in this present administration, have been bought over by politicians. So the judiciary is now corrupt. You see that one judge will give one judgment, another judge will give a contradicting judgment.
Is there a judgment?
There was a judgment that, yes.
Is there a judgment now that has made Martin Samehule, or that has declared them not to be speakers of the House?
Yes.
What judgment?
Now look at it. When Honorable Edison here took over, who was the House leader then, when he took over office as the Speaker, he declared their seat vacant. And according to I'm not a lawyer, and I cannot in any way claim to stand for the law. I stand for the masses.
You're saying that they declared their seats vacant?
Yes, the speaker, a certain sitting speaker that was approved by the judge, by court, declared their seat vacant.
Do you recall the justice or the court that?
No, I don't have that time. The reason is this. If I know that the question will be coming from that time, I would have prepared for that. But I'm saying this, and it is in the very palm of every Rivers person who know all this. But what I'm saying in essence is that Amwele didn't act illegally following this constitution backing by extending the tenure.
If you say he didn't act legally, as at the time he extended...
I mean by the extension. But at the time he extended, that time he was acting illegally.
Are you aware that there is a judgment that recognized Martin Samehule?
Yes, Abuja court, not Rivers, not a court in Rivers State.
Now, this is are you aware again of the prayers of the appeal court, or the prayers that was made to the appeal court, or let me rephrase it, are you aware of the appeal court judgment?
The latest appeal court judgment?
Yes.
To an extent.
It took it
yes.
to an extent.
Why I say to an extent is I'm not a lawyer, and beginning to quote them word by word.
That's relating to...
Because as at the time they got the house, the court in River State, as at the time the governor or whoever took the matter to court in River State, they believed that the state high court has jurisdiction over the matter.
Well,
they believe.
From the judgment of the
But appeal court now say,
yes,
no, you don't have the jurisdiction. And they have gone to Supreme Court. So Supreme Court will now help the
now,
two.
From the judgment of the appeal court. High Court.
And Justice Bassam is of which...
The judgment that recognized Martins, so we don't miss it.
Before we exit from here.
No, we'll still come back to it, but he has to speak because I allowed you to speak so that you can... When he's done...
Before he comes up, there's a point.
That will be taking it now, and that is why you see now is federal government versus state governors. They are not, the two of them are not fighting.
Okay, if I understand what you're saying,
yes,
you're saying that the local government tenure elongation,
yes,
law enacted by Martin Samehu,
yes,
that events have not overtaken it.
No,
it is still valid
because it's valid now by the pronouncement of the Supreme Court.
The pronouncement of Supreme Court has given it more validity and life.
So if they take it, this matter now up to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court cannot reverse itself. So before you know what is happening, and what we have now is not an elected president will be shifted for the next 2 years because there is crisis and election cannot hold, and there shall be no vacuum.
All right.
I'm afraid.
Well, I also want to ask you a question because you mentioned that time has not overtaken the judgment, the local government law number 4. When Supreme Court also gave its judgment, it said that the judgment is to be implemented with immediate effects. Now, one would wonder, I need clarification on that because I mean a lot of confusion is coming up.
I'm not a legal luminary.
Not legally.
I'm a legal illiterate.
All right.
Yes.
Now, politically speaking.
Yes.
If the Supreme Court has said implement immediately, now, according to you, the law as enacted by Martin Samehu is very much valid.
Yes.
Now, this law was enacted when these outcome chairmen were still on seats. That was before.
What the Supreme Court has just done now is to corroborate
Martin Samehu.
Yes.
Okay.
Because that particular period, there was no fund. The research in River State were not empowered. And that was the reason why there was no local government election. And what did the Supreme Court say? The Supreme Court said under any circumstances where there cannot be election,
or impossible.
It's impossible to conduct election. The tenure can be shifted to 6 months. And I mean, they have
shifted it by 6 months.
Yes. So he did well. Because why didn't the governor funded the RISEC? There was no fund. So there was no election. Possible. The tenure can be shifted because there shall be no vacuum. Not even caretaker committee that could even form the vacuum. Because they are not even recognized. So today in River State, in the eye of the law, there is no local government chairman, there are no councillors.
Now the question would be, this caretaker committees that
it's an aberration of the law. It's an illegal. It's an illegal.
All right.
Position. But there are some people are holding. Okay. Because federal government will not recognize them, there won't be any 10 kobo allocation from the federal government.
Can I ask?
And who is losing?
Joe, if you say that the council chairman, they are an aberration, of course the Supreme Court has already given its judgment, given that they are still flaunting themselves as caretaker chairman and the governor has not, fallen in line with the Supreme Court judgment, can that be considered a constitutional infraction? Is it gross misconduct by the executive?
I won't say it's a gross misconduct by the executive. There is a clause.
All right.
In case if there is any governor that uses caretaker, you understand, federal government will not recognize such caretaker government, local government administration in that period under a caretaker chairman.
Okay.
So therefore, no allocation will be given.
So how will this caretaker committee, how will this caretaker chairman now be running local governments without...
Sometimes ago, when the present president was the governor of Lagos State, it happened. He created 37 local council authority development areas, and the president that time, President Olusegun Obasanjo, just stopped the allocation from going to Lagos, even at the Supreme Court.
Yeah, the Bible. And Bible says that in the time of our ignorance, God
what you said now is wrong.
Wrong?
Yes, hold on. Religiously, it is right.
Okay.
In your standing. However, Nigeria is a secular nation, and your statement.
But religiously inclined.
Hold on. Nigeria is a secular nation, multicultural, multi-religious. So now, for Christians, they will applaud what you have said. For Muslims, they will find it offensive.
Now the question is, who am I?
Hold on. Nation.
Very correct.
When you say that, the Constitution says that this is the highest, this is the authority, right? So probably in your household, for yourself, you obey the Holy Bible above Nigerian Constitution. That's left for you, but secular nation.
Now let me bring you from the angle.
By a secular constitution.
Yes, let me bring you to the part I'm coming from.
Right.
I have allegiance to a certain religion.
Okay.
And I'm speaking from my perspective. And whatever I'm saying, I am saying for myself and for the people, both those who believe, who are of my religious divide, and those who are in the other religion. But the truth is this: I said that Bible supersedes the Constitution. To me, so you now see where I'm coming from. Now, I believe that a Muslim, if the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria is standing, the person will stand. That faithful Muslim will stand with the Quran. So it is from the angle I'm coming. Now, but let us leave that aside. Whether Bible is superior to the Constitution or whatever, according to the view, the secular view, let's keep that aside. But there is a point I picked from there, that in my Bible, which I read, I study, I believe, it says that our time of ignorance God overlook, but now that we have come to knowledge, he expects everyone to come to repentance. Now look at it. Prior to the time of appeal court judgment, we upheld the judgment of the High Court, and we took it as the pronouncement of the law by the court. So from that period, you discover that Martin Samuel and his cohorts were no longer recognized, because a court, the High Court, has substantiated the existence of Okojombo, following his taking over from
which High Court of substantiation?
River State High Court.
By Justice Wale.
Yeah.
How do you substantiate?
Now,
hold on. How do you substantiate that judgment without vacating an earlier judgment?
Which earlier judgment?
The judgment of Justice Omotosho of the Federal High Court, recognizing Martin Samehule as the legitimate and authentic Speaker of River State House of Assembly has not been vacated.
Okay.
Now, part of that judgment was also annulling the budget presented to Eddie Sinehi, and the governor was asked to represent the budget.
Okay.
You understand? That was part of it. Now, if you say that Nagugo gave a judgment, Nagugo gave a judgment from a state high court whose jurisdiction right now in Rivers State House, when making a nonsense of the rulings of Justice Wale of the Rivers State High Court, he also made a very important point. He said that the speakership of Matesa Mehuli is not in contention. I'm quoting him.
The speakership,
Appeal court said that the speakership of
was not in
Mehuli
contention.
Was not in contention.
Okay.
Never has been. The prayer at the appeal court was that of jurisdiction.
Okay.
And the judgment of Justice Omoto has never been vacated.
Can I ask you a question?
So how then do you say
now? Let me come
that,
from this angle.
how then do you say that there is a judgment that was holding sway?
Good, good, good. By the time these judgments were coming, something happened, literally. Remember, according to my colleague, I am also a law illiterate, but I am not daft.
All right.
Before these judgments began to come, we all saw that Martins and his 26 members of House of River State House Assembly decamped from PDP to APC to the glaring of the public, which made me believe that these people who found themselves in the corridors of power are jokers.
Okay, what's the constitutional? What is the constitutional provision for the campaign?
I'm coming. They said if you ask me the constitutional, you want me to double into law. But there is something I want to point out.
Do you know the party provisions for the campaign?
Yes, to me, I don't know I don't know the provisions. I don't know the procedure. No. Before you come to educate me, they decamped, and those who were interpreting said that having decamped, when there is no crisis in your party, you have lost your seat. And it was on that premise that these people, Edison here and his group, began to fight.
Was there a proviso to that law?
I wouldn't know.
No, well, the law has a proviso, and if the law has a proviso,
if we can now come back to the Constitution.
Hold on. You cannot discuss this without the Constitution, and you've already said yourself that you're an illiterate when it comes to the Constitution. So now that makes me kind of, but then let me just very briefly, let me just simplify it.
But remember, I was going to somewhere. There was that point I want to point.
You will still make your point, but it's important you also don't misinform people.
Okay.
That's my job here.
Yeah.
You understand?
No, you have to do your job excellently, and we'll help you to do that.
Let's look at it critically, very briefly. First of all, there is a constitution given for defection, and in that constitution there is a proviso. And when Matisa they were making their televised broadcast, they quoted the proviso and they said that there was crisis. Now, everybody, most people, not even everybody, some people are saying there was no crisis, another faction is saying there was crisis. Now, at that point, it's the court that will determine, according to the Constitution, they will now interpret whether the issues or the crisis falls in line with the Constitution. It is left for the court to interpret that. So that particular section of the law is not self-executory. That's on one hand. Now, on the other hand, they defected by making a televised broadcast that they have defected. But let's look at the party constitution. The party constitution says that if before you defect, you will write to your ward chairman a letter of resignation from the party for whatever reason you want. And the letter, when you write your ward chairman, your resignation from the party has to be ratified.
From the ward?
You write to your ward chairman, the local government will ratify it, the state will ratify it, it will still go to the National Working Committee.
Okay.
These procedures were not followed.
Okay.
And that was why when Justice Bassam, while recusing himself from the matter, also said televised defection does not apply with the party constitution. The fact remains that when the court begins to hear the merits of the matter, they will look at the constitutional provisions. If these people, and that is why they are now saying, we did not defect. In the last PDP National Congress, they were all in their wards. They took part in these congresses. They took part in the election. They were not expelled from their ward. They were not stopped from holding. The PDP National has not, after that Congress, come out to say that whatever Congress that held at the ward level, because Martin Samehule and the other lawmakers were part of it, is invalid. They have not said that.
Now let me pick.
And the APC that they are saying they defected to, clearly has said that they are not in the APC register.
Good.
And they are still in PDP register.
If you give me the privilege of time, let me pick it from there.
I will give you 3 minutes. That is me being generous.
Well, let's go from
3
there.
minutes.
If the proviso says that before you will be said to have left this compound, is when you leave with your slippers. And you walk outside this compound, and you are seen in the street, and you interacted and did everything you did in the street, and come back standing out there to tell everybody that you didn't leave the compound. Now, you are subjecting your movement to the interpretation of law. But look at it. As the masses advocate, how do we see it? How do we interpret it? We saw you outside the compound. You left the compound. So the energy we are putting into discussing these legal matters about Martin Samuel and his cohort is, to me, it's like we're just trading time. But let me come from this angle. Let me come from this angle. Let me come from this angle.
Don't you agree?
That to us, as at the time he defected, the masses believed they have defected. They were now APC. Even the president commander-in-chief, His Excellency President Bola Tinubu, said that they are now his children.
Hold on, you can't say the masses, because when you say the masses, you are now speaking for the generality of Rivers people.
Who constitutes the masses?
However,
is it not the majority of the people?
The masses also come to my show, and people speak for the masses as well, like you claim, and a part of the masses also will contrary view to what you have
part
said.
Of the masses. But when we are talking about in our view, masses are majorly the commoners.
Some of the commoners are also
coming from this angle. We believed that they defected.
Okay.
Now the court judgment, as at the time they were holding plenaries and elongating the tenure of the local governments, in the eyes of the people, based on both the court judgment as at that time, they were operating in illegality. And now, as a presenter, as a journalist, can you do this your presentation outside the compound without sitting in the studio? Once you are outside there and someone is holding camera recording you, things you did there, this studio, this media house can deny you that you didn't do it in their studio. Now, we look at that. Now they went to court, and the appeal court has said that Rivers State High Court does not have jurisdiction over that.
And the appeal court also said that the speakership of Martin Samehule is not in contention.
Yes, but if you have lost your seat, can you be holding authority when you are not on seat?
The judgment that declared him speaker has not been vacated, so he's still legitimate.
Whether that is or it is not.
You need to understand that the law itself is not emotional.
The law is not emotional, I know.
The law is not sentimental.
It's practical.
So you are coming
and it's
from
subjective.
Hold on, you're coming from the angle of emotion.
No, not at all.
And sentiment.
And when you could say I'm coming from the angle of sentiment, because I believe there are people I'm standing
I am looking at the facts before me.
Yes.
I'm looking at what the law is saying.
Even and you know that I'm illiterate in what you are talking about.
No, you're not, sir. Even though what you're saying right now is so much at variance with the law. It's just as simple as saying you're married to somebody and you have issues with that person. And probably because you're a public figure, you go online and make a video and say, please, I do not want to be, she's no more my wife. I don't want to be associated with her. She doesn't bear my name. If you do any business or any interaction with her on my behalf, you know, I will not be held liable for that. And then years down the line, you people are separated. You go on and marry another lady in court. She wakes up and takes you to court. Will you go to prison for bigamy?
Well, depending on the judgment the court will give. Because
the court will look at the constitution. Are you legally married to her? Yes. So
no, you say yes. You say yes. You say yes. Based on the way you see them present themselves. You were not there in the traditional marriage. You were not there in the court marriage.
We are not doing all that. What I am telling, I am giving you a clear picture of when you're legally married to a woman.
Okay.
And then you separate from her, and then much later, without divorcing her.
Okay.
Without
legally
in
the court.
You now go and marry another woman.
What if you divorce her traditionally?
The court will ask for a divorce certificate if you're married.
Does the court, does traditional house give certificate of divorce?
Let me ask you a very important question.
Okay.
The question is, Jackson said something very, very valid, and it's concerning when he talked about the judgment, the law enacted by Martin Samueli still having life. And he said that that law was enacted when these outcome chairmen were still, in their
power.
Yes. And Jackson said this law still has life, and now it has been even further buttressed by the Supreme Court judgment. Where does that leave the Rivers State governor now?
Is it the governor or Rivers people?
Not just, we'll still trickle down to that.
Okay.
Now, we are looking at it was the executive that inaugurated the caretaker chairman. It's still the same executive that will terminate their appointment by the reason of the Supreme Court judgment. Now, the question would be, why is the governor not falling in line with
that judgment?
Yes.
Good.
Even if he chooses not to bring in these men back, why is the governor not falling in line with the Supreme Court judgment? Do not forget the judgment said effective immediately. Now
look at it. I have said it, that judiciary is the cause of the brouhaha we're having in the system now. All over Nigeria, judiciary. Now look at it. I told you that all these things you are seeing playing from the federal, flowing down to the state, is as a result of one man having interest over one thing or the other. And by that reason, you see them begin to bring up policies that are flowing and conflicting themselves. Now, Supreme Court has said this, and the governor has legal luminaries around him, judges and justices, who can interpret these matters. And now, if, according to my colleague here, Jackson Leko, the time this Amehule and his men elongated the tenure of this chairman, they were still in power. Which means, if what the Supreme Court is saying today is anything to go by, they should come back.
They should come back, right?
Yes, they should come back. But the question, my stand is this, that based on what we knew, not really the law now, based on what we knew.
Not the
law. Understand me? I'm coming. Okay. Based on what we knew, the time of elongation of this thing, the people say it is not known in the law. And the elongation was not carried. Now they were ousted. And police has taken over these local government secretariats. Which, when I look at it, I begin to wonder what they really want to achieve.
The police.
The policemen. The police of Rivers State. Heavily led by, what's his name?
Who implements the law?
It is their duty.
Who safeguards life and property?
It is their duty to enforce law and order and safeguard life and property. Now, but before you come to say you are safeguarding life and property, do you infringe on another person's rights?
How did they infringe on the right?
They have denied all the civil servants working in the LGAs access to their offices,
by not letting caretaker chairman to have access to...
Yes, you call them illegal, but in the eyes of Rivers State work, they were not illegal.
There was already, now, according to you, you're contradicting yourself.
I'm not contradicting myself.
You said by the reason of the Supreme Court judgment.
By the reason of what we are seeing.
Hold on. You said by the reason of the Supreme Court judgment and the law, the local government law number 5, enacted by Martin Samueli. This outgone chairman should be returned back.
Yes, I said that if Amehule actually had right.
And now you said,
I'm not contradicting this. I know where I'm going.
You now said to put, I'm quoting you.
Yes.
After you made this point, you now said to put the law aside and go by what we know.
Yes.
You cannot build
what we knew.
We are
not building it or anything.
Why you say the law aside?
What we're talking about is the law today, what you just exposed me to. Because you just showed me something in the Constitution, in section 135.
All right.
But prior to this time, I don't know it. I was looking at the governor as the executive governor of the state.
Yes.
Who is both the in charge of the security and well-being of the people, and by his rule, by his office. I'm not looking at Similaye Fubara. I'm looking at the office of the governor. Because prior to the time of Similaye Fubara, someone was there. And the man who was there, we saw him. We saw the way he ruled. Nobody ever challenges. But now, you see the way they are ridiculing this young man simply because he had a fall. And the several things are coming from the federal where this man, we knew what he did. Are you being
emotional right now? Or you're looking at what the law is saying?
I'm looking at what is affecting the people. And look at it, when you talk about emotion, emotion is inbuilt. You, to an extent, will be emotional if you are hungry. Whether you believe it or not.
We are discussing
issues
according to the law.
Yes. Look at it.
You're mixing
the law,
because on one hand,
I put in a scripture here, which will try to bring down my scripture that is not superior to Nigerian constitution, which I said there is always a time of ignorance. And that time of ignorance, there was something to upheld.
Okay, now that you know what the law is saying, now that you know what the law is saying, now that you have seen what the Supreme Court has said,
everything in the past remains in the past. Now there is a caretaker chairman appointed by the executive governor of the state who has mandates to do that, and he has done it. Now he didn't just do it. He didn't just. In Nigeria, more than 24 local governments, are running by this. Whether it is illegal or it's legal, they have been carrying it. Of which, even years ago when he was in power,
are you aware? You also read the CTC copy of the Supreme Court judgment.
Yes.
And you have heard that the state houses of assembly have the right to make law for local government.
Yes.
And in this instance, extended the tenure. And you.
But the person that extended the tenure was operating on illegality, and we cannot build on it.
Right.
Now that these people are sitting there, the caretaker committee chairman are sitting there, and there is a date, there is a process towards conduct election.
Who funds the caretaker committee chairman right now?
I think it should be funded prior to the time of local government autonomy. Prior to that time, the state government funds them. And since the statement of the Supreme Court says that the federal government will fund directly, and they don't recognize caretaker. Now, this man, you are the one who will meet this masquerade. You must beat gong for me. So the man who wore the caretaker chairman, the masquerade they are wearing, has to beat gong for them.
So now you're saying the governor has to fund the caretaker chairman. Now,
so
that will still bring us back to what Jackson Lekoto has said. Jackson Lekoto said it is gross misconduct. It is misappropriation of reverse.
Jackson Lekoto is neither a lawyer nor a judge nor the speaker for the state. Just as I am, he is a man, a well-respected man. But you see this matter, his words cannot go beyond the ear. It's only that people will hear him and people will begin to make judgment, just as it is.
It's ironic how you claim to speak for the masses, and Jackson Lekoto.
No, he is not the masses mandate. He's not the masses advocate.
Are you also aware that he also has his own people he's representing and speaking for?
If the people I am speaking for the masses, he is speaking for their lives. So he's speaking for them until he disproves me. But don't knock my head with that of Jackson.
If the Supreme Court says that, if the Supreme Court says that allocation comes directly from the federal, and the states, and that this caretaker committee chairman should cease to exist. And in Rivers State, they are still existing.
With immediate
and you
effect.
have said, yes, with immediate effect. From July 11 to 2024, by the way, that was when the judgment was given. And now, in Rivers State, this caretaker chairman still exists. They are still employing aides, 100 aides, 200 aides.
They are doing marvelously well.
By employing 100 aides and 200 aides.
The empowerment they are carrying out in the LGS, in the grassroots, me and my people, the people I represent, we are benefiting. These other chairmen that have stayed there for months, for years, have not done half of what these guys are doing in few months.
All right.
And if you look
at it, it's okay for the governor to keep empowering them.
There is a process.
When election
the governor is touching the lives of the grassroots, the masses in their villages through these people.
I asked you a question.
What's the question?
Are you saying the governor should keep empowering them from River State funds
until he conducts election?
Is it
because there is a process?
Is it constitutional?
Whether it is constitutional, Nze may not interpret. Nze is neither a lawyer,
all right,
but a priest,
okay,
an advocate of the masses. So, but for the fact that the governor's leadership is touching the lives of these people in the grassroots through the instrumentality of the caretaker committee members.
Even the treatment to the law.
Even if when the law is in variance with the well-being of the people. The law
so the law right now is at variance with the well.
Yes, now if you carry it out, because if you bring these people who have been there, who have never done anything but enriching themselves and building hotels, you can imagine somebody who just building hotels, Jackson, whereas the people are suffering.
Jackson, please, you can have your say now before we round up.
I've been very happy observing both of you.
So now, very quickly, what is the way forward?
The way forward as regards what?
Now, he's saying that the governor can go on, and according to him, that the law is not for the benefit of the people.
No. Now, the governor can go ahead with his caretaker.
And fund them from River State.
Yeah, because the positive action from the part of the Supreme Court ruling is that federal government in any state where caretaker committee are the one handling the local government instead of democratically elected chairman, in such a state, nobody is taking the governor to court, but the federal government will not fund such a local government.
Now, is that not denying the local government, the grassroots, the masses, is that not denying them governance? Because funds that are meant for their development will not come to them. It won't trickle from the federal government to them. And now funds that are meant for development of the states, the governor will now use it to fund the local government. Make it make sense to me.
If you decide to, the money that is supposed to be made for your children to feed, if you decide to use it to fuel generator,
okay,
you are spending money, right? And for the welfare of the home, but your children are hungry.
And they are malnourished.
Exactly. So to me, I still stand by it. Even law of high moral standard do not permit the governor to do that. Immediately the Supreme Court made that pronouncement. The governor do not have any right to keep this CTC, what does he call them?
Yeah, CTC, yeah.
Just because he can afford to be funding them. Because he was saying it up to about 3 days ago, he was saying it that they must empower their people. With which fund?
Right.
Because local government have their funds directly from the federal government. But your action and inaction have made federal government to stop that funding. So the money you're supposed to use to do some other project in the state, you are now using it to fund local government in order for the local government. What the governor is doing in the practical term is he's using the CTC to build his own political structure.
Okay.
Inimical to the growth and development of the people of River State. It's building structure.
I disagree with that.
It's building. You have the right to disagree.
I disagree.
Because I won't be surprised now if you are not an advocate of sin.
Well,
because it's part of the people too. It's part of the people too.
It could be an accusation.
Maybe some of his loyalists are members of your church.
You're a member of my church. But for what I said that I disagree with him.
You've had your say.
But the previous government did not touch it. So, if he's building structure by touching lives, they did build the structure. And let any other person come in, killed his by touching lives.
All right.
I'm with them every day.
Gentlemen, we'll still have this conversation moving forward. And probably tomorrow we will still continue with this story, but we look at it from another angle. Funding of the CTC chairman. And then we'll look at the monies and income that has entered Rivers State government since last day to date and what the governor has been doing with it. Do not go away. Tomorrow promises to be interesting. Thank you so much, Lekojo.
It's always my pleasure. I'm very happy to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nigerians.
And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Open Conversation. You can always follow us, and we are open for adverts, placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our social, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget our Unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Ugu Laurentia. Transition News comes up next. Don't go away.